everybody? It's the Pearlo Wisdom Show. Welcome to the live on a Friday night. It's Friday. And we got some interesting games going. Like what? Pittsburgh last night. Playing possum, I guess. Not giving a crap about teams like Seattle and guys like that. And then they come up against the Lightning, and it's like, yeah, well, you take some of this, all right? You take some of this. They love playing those big name players, big name teams, I should say. Yeah, you have no goaltending, John. Your goaltending sucks. It's terrible. Campbell is back to his mental health issues or whatever the heck he's got. Mrazek. I've never been a Mrazek fan. I didn't understand the signing. Yeah, it's a bad move. Bad scene there. I just did a trade Marner video. Not saying you should do that now, but I don't know, man. You're paying that much money to forwards. They have no depth. I loved the way they were playing for each other earlier in the season. For themselves, like the way they were playing for each other early in the season, but it was obvious they just don't have enough depth to keep up. Anderson Dolan will play on the top line tonight, really? Okay. Against Columbus. I'm not sure I like Columbus. I'm not sure I like LA in that spot. Where are the Kings? There we are, LA Kings. He's going to play on the left side, yeah. Play on the top line on the left with Kopitar and Kempe. More Dano and Arvidsson, obviously. Going to took Iafallo down. Try to spur some offense out of Byfield, I guess. Interesting. I think they got a tough one tonight against Columbus. I think Columbus is going to come out hard. Yes, it has been a problem for the Kings. I thought Peterson was going to be better than they were. Quick can only play so many minutes. And I brought up this idea that LA trade for Price if he was ever healthy and showed that he can play for an extended period of time. And I put that on the Kings Facebook group, and they just lambasted me. And I was just like, I was only saying that if Peterson, I wasn't sure if Peterson was going to be what he needed to be. They needed him to be. And I don't know, it's gotten to the point where you kind of got to wonder if he is, right? There's I think there would be a lot of teams looking for young goaltenders out there that, we can allow Peterson to progress as a goaltender, that maybe you could get a good goaltender back. I don't know, but I think if LA thinks they're ready soon, I don't think Peterson's going to be the guy. I don't know how Fleury to the Leafs would work, but I think it's possible. I think it would be wise for them to do that. It would suck because I want my Edmonton Oilers to pick them up, but I would like the Edmonton Oilers to pick him up, but I don't know. I mean, if you got to win now, he's the only guy out there. There's no other goaltender you're going to go out and hope he isn't going to do it. You think he will be better next year? I mean, he really has not become the consistent goaltender they've been looking for. You know me, if you come on here all the time, I don't fool around with goaltenders. I don't care if I look bad because I traded a goaltender away, if I wasn't sure they were going to become very good. I don't care. I want a goaltender that I know is going to be good if I'm planning to win right now. It's a question, is LA really planning to win right now? If they are, Peterson ain't it. You're not winning a cup with Peterson right now. And, by next year, the way they're playing now, I imagine they're going to be looking at signing free agents and stuff like that. They're not far away is what I'm trying to say. They go out and get defensemen, all that. And if you're going to do that, you're going to stick with Peterson and Quick as your goaltender, you'd be a fool. You would be a fool. I think you would anyways. I think it would be foolish to do that. Well, I guess the problem would be where... I think the problem would be what goaltender are you going to get? I mean, it's not like they grow on trees there, right? Just looking down the lineup. Just looking down, let me get you guys up on my... Let me get up so I can see you here. Okay. So Marc-Andre, I don't know if Marc-Andre Fleury would go to LA, but I think he's a little old. You're looking for somebody that's youngish, that you really believe can be a number one that already is a number one. And now those are hard to find. Those are hard to find. Like Ville Husso would be perfect, but I just don't see... I don't see St. Louis letting Husso go. I think they let Binnington go before Husso goes. I don't know what's Colorado going to do with Darcy Kemper. Talbot's not the answer. Maybe Varlamov. Varlamov might work for the style that LA plays. Might work. He'd be better than the two you got. Yeah. Varlamov might be a guy that you could look at. That makes some sense. I don't know. There's only so much goaltenders you can get out there, right? Like, I don't know if I think he's a free agent. Is he a free agent? That's why when people say, well, goaltenders are easiest to find, I'm like, really? When you need one, where are they? They're not like hanging off the tree there, buddy. It's not easy to get a goaltender. Penguins, no. Carolina, no. Washington, no. Philly, no. There aren't too many options out there. I think it would be like Varlamov or Husso. Drigger's not a number one. Drigger's not a number one goaltender. There's one. Maybe you could try Reimer. He had a really good year in San Jose. I mean, I don't know. He's had a good year in San Jose, but does that mean like that's a guy you want to take you to the promised land? Probably not. I think you got two choices: Varlamov or Husso, or Binnington. If you can turn Binnington around, Binnington has all the tools. It's just his head. If you can figure out a way to just being his best self, that's really all you got to do with Binnington. He's real. I don't like arrogant goaltenders because arrogant goaltenders have a tendency to be more focused on being better than other people, or arrogant people in general, than just being their better self. And when somebody comes in and pushes them, or, they're very insecure. So they have a tendency to go on like hot streaks and then just be absolutely garbage. Yeah, Binnington would be quite the chore. But if you think you could turn him around, I really don't think St. Louis. I think St. Louis is going to go with Husso. I think they're going to try to find a home for Binnington. So, and he wouldn't cost much I don't think he would cost much as far as assets are concerned if you're willing to take his whole salary. And you could trade Peterson and St. Louis, and St. Louis could go with Peterson and Husso. And then, you could trade Peterson in the deal. Yeah, almost straight across. I think you could almost do that straight across. Peterson for Binnington. There might be some competition out there, though. I could see New Jersey trying to find a goaltender next year because Blackwood just can't stop being injured. The Oilers should be looking for a goaltender. I don't know if I like Binnington for the Oilers though, because if he's a guy that's really touchy, which he is, which you'd have to help him with, but I don't know if Edmonton is a way to help a guy with that. Like you're in a hot box there of media attention, and people are calling you out constantly all the time there. In Edmonton, like they used to have, like when Lucic was here in Edmonton, people would actually yell at Lucic saying, "You're a waste of skin, $6 million contract bum," all of that stuff, while he was walking around with his family. While he was walking around with his family and stuff, that's the kind of, so imagine a guy like Binnington getting yelled at like that here. That would practically ruin him. Hey Lauren, how you doing? We're talking about LA and goaltending. What did you do? Carolina last night. What's going on, buddy? You can't lose to Washington. Washington's been garbage. You lose to Detroit, I kind of got it. It was an overlook game, but they at least got a point out of it. But the overlook should be Washington, and now you got Pittsburgh tonight. I don't know. I'm not touching that game. I think Carolina should win that with Ranta because Ranta has been playing pretty well. And you got DeSmith there. Yeah, I have a feeling Columbus is going to win that game tonight. Quick in net. There's Lickens. I just like the energy of that. I think I'm going to throw one on there. I think they're just the Kings. McClellan gets a lot out of a roster that probably shouldn't be doing as well as it is. Let's just flat out say it. Much like I said about Minnesota, and remember, I picked LA to make the playoffs this year. I figured LA was going to make the playoffs this year, but sometimes LA looks like a superstar team, and really they're not. Like they got a nondescript defense. Like you said, they have two goaltenders that are pretty, not the top of the league. Let's put it that way. And they got a lot of green players that look like they're going to be good. But you've got Byfield playing third line center. What is he? 19 years old. I really am not sure I like the idea of playing Byfield in the NHL right now. I'd rather him be working on his offense in the AHL. But yeah, I don't like the idea of him playing in the NHL right now. But their depth allows them not to, they're not able to do it. Ole Matt is playing his best defense for a while, and that's one thing LA is killer at. That if they develop defensemen better than anyone in the league. It used to be Nashville, but I give it to LA now. Well, let me put it. I'll take Shannon even further than that. If Jack Campbell is the goaltender when they play in the first round, they won't win in the first round, and he won't be back. I wouldn't want to do that if I were you. Jack Campbell has shown over and over again that he can't mentally handle a number one role. And he's a 1B guy, and I don't want to have a 1B guy. I don't want a 1A, 1B guy. I want a number one goaltender. Jack Campbell is not a number one goaltender. Peterson is not a number one goaltender. Quick used to be one of the best ever. Hall of Famer for sure, but he's not a number one goaltender anymore. If I'm LA, I'm looking for a number one goaltender, and Jack Campbell ain't it. Binnington can be that if he can get his head out of his butt. Binnington could be a number one goaltender. Ville Husso could be a number one goaltender, I think. And Varlamov has shown that he can handle being a number one goaltender. But even him, I would say he's not a true number one goaltender. But he would work fine with, he could probably get you through the full playoffs, I think. It's iffy. That's what I mean by when people say never draft goaltenders in the first round. I think you're freaking crazy. Look at how many teams out there that could be great teams if they had a number one goaltender. Like, oh, goaltenders are the easiest to find. Not number one goaltenders are not. Number one goaltenders are not easy to find. They're rare. Like, look at Shesterkin. Go through the league. You got Shesterkin, Price when he's healthy, which they don't have. Lehner, borderline. Vasilevsky, of course. Hellebuck, yes, but Edmonton Oilers don't have one. Vancouver Demko, yes. That's what, 1, 2, 3 so far. Dallas Stars, Ottinger will be. So I'll give that to Ottinger. Blackhawks, Fleury is. Philadelphia, Carter Hart hasn't proved he's a number one goaltender yet. Carolina Hurricanes, Anderson. Penguins, Jari, questionable. I don't know if I want to give it to him. Not really, because he's not a guy I want in the playoffs. Toronto doesn't have one. St. Louis, probably Husso. Florida, Bobrovsky, I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. I don't like Bobrovsky going in the finals. Markstrom, yes. Kemper has had a bad year, man. Bruins will have one. They don't have one yet. See what I'm saying here? Wild don't have one. Islanders, Varlamov, Sorokin will be. Sharks really don't. Reimer isn't that. Arizona, no. Seattle, I don't think Grubauer is. New Jersey, no. Like, you see? Number one goaltenders are, like, hard to find, man. Oh, that sucks. Well, that would explain it then. Yeah, that would explain it. Good thing that that's a cancer that's fairly successful to get over. Yeah, Kemper would be a lot better. It's going to be interesting to see what Colorado does next year. Did they sign him to a 2-year deal, Kemper? Oh, he's a UFA. I guess LA could roll the dice and bring Kemper back at $5 million per. Oh, with that, you never know, I guess. I don't know enough about that kind of cancer to tell you if they'd be able to do that. They could probably get Kemper for $5 million a year next year. We'll see if they has. I mean, he's been the times I've seen him with Colorado, he's never looked fantastic to me. He hasn't been the same as when he was in Arizona. Just wait, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Well, Grubauer, I didn't think was ever good. They made Grubauer look good. Yeah, Mario Lemieux had it, yeah. And that was way back when, so he should be okay now. He should be all right. It's just it's going to take him a while to get over that. I don't know anything about it, but Mario Lemieux did get over it, so I imagine he will too. But yeah, I mean, LA's that I don't screw around with goaltending. Free agency. No, you watch. I'm going to look up free agent goaltenders here. So slow. So slow. Koskinen, you can have Koskinen. Marc-Andre Fleury, Kemper. That's all you got. You got a choice. Kemper and Marc-Andre Fleury. Maybe take a stab. Anton Forsberg has looked fantastic this year. How old is he now? He's 29 though. Wow. That's what I mean. When you do a rebuild and you don't take care of your goaltending, I mean, hey CL, how you doing? If you say they're going to keep Peterson for sure, I guess they do. I don't know. What's the use of doing a rebuild if you're not going to pay for the goaltending? There's really no use doing it. Like, why do rebuilds fail? Why did Buffalo's rebuild fail? Because all their goaltenders sucked. That was really one of the biggest reasons why their rebuild failed. Edmonton. Everybody wonders, oh, they got all these first picks, but they couldn't win because they had no goaltender. That's why. They never had a goaltender. You don't have a number one goaltender. What's the use of doing a rebuild? It's the first thing you got to do. Go get a goaltender. Sign him up big. That's what Seattle tried to do with Grubauer. They just picked the wrong guy. That was a bad move. Now, I don't think you have to get the goaltender right away. But after 3 years of picking up draft picks, if you haven't drafted one, you got to get one, and the number one and pay for it. Like, that's why I didn't mind when Price got his $10 million a year or whatever. It didn't work out, but I got it. Like, where are you going to get another Price? He's a guy that can take an average team to the finals. But would I gamble my future with Peterson right now? No, I wouldn't. All that rebuild time, and you're going to roll the dice on the goaltender, the most important position they have? Oh, yeah, they might have somebody in the minors that might. That's right. So how's CL doing, man? Watching the Flyers lose once again? They have high hopes for who? They got that Johan Solgren. I don't know. He was drafted in 2000. Sodergran. What kind of numbers is he putting up in Sweden? Oh no, that's not a goaltender. What am I doing? Never mind. What's the minors? Oh, Lucas Parik. 87 and Lucas Parik. 6'4", big guy. He's in the ECHL right now. I think he's a long ways away. It looks like he's quite the ways away. Yeah, I mean, Flyers just, the defense is terrible. It's terrible defense. It's been like that for 2 years now. Change coaches, don't matter. The defense, just the defensemen we have on defense are not good enough. And I still say the Oilers are the same way. It's going to come out. I think Woodcroft is a better coach than Tippett for this team, but I don't know if any coach is going to do much for that defense there. There's bloody rebuild and get it over with. For the love of God, I just can't get it. In Philadelphia, it's like, what are you going to just keep on banging your head against the wall? Well, when Ellis comes back, you think Ellis is going to improve that defense that much? Like, it's their defensemen are absolutely porous. I don't think you should go after any. I think you should be trading away players. I think they should be trading away players. Yeah. Yeah, Hayes had injury issues before they got there. I mean, there's so much wrong with the Philadelphia Flyers. Do your due diligence. Like, I didn't even know, and I'm not supposed to know because I'm not getting paid to be an NHL guy, right? I liked the Ellis trade when it first happened, and then I went over to Nashville and I was like, you got worked, man. We got Ellis for you. And they're like, dude, probably going to be injured most of his career. I was like, what? And they're, yeah, that's what we're hearing now. And sure enough, I had Montreal to beat Calgary. I had Montreal to beat Calgary, Eugene. That was a bad spot for Calgary. They were on the road, off the road. They have Colorado coming up, where they got to go on the road for. So they flew back from. Who did they play? They beat Minnesota, wasn't it? They flew to Minnesota, flew back, had this little game with Montreal before you fly to Colorado and play Colorado. It's a bad spot for them, and I liked Montreal there. I think they have no choice now. I think they have no choice but to re-sign Lindholm now. I don't know what they want to do. I'd love for them to tell me what they want to do. Like, Anaheim, let Raquel go. I don't know about Manson. I don't know about Lindholm. They don't, like, a lot of people are praising Anaheim right now, but they're one of those teams that are bordering on not rebuilding properly, and it's probably because it's just so much pressure there to put on a competitive team because so people show up. It's probably a sponsorship thing or something, but it's going to kick them in the ass in the long run. The Anaheim's prospect depth is not very good for a team that's supposed to be rebuilding. Like Detroit's doing it right. They're just sucking every year for like 5-6 years, grabbing every draft pick they can. And as long as they hit, which, Steve Yzerman seems to be pretty darn good at drafting. His people that he puts together, you seem to do darn good at drafting. That team will be so deep, and that's what you got to do. Yeah, I think Gibson's got to go, Eugene. I think you're absolutely right. I think he's got to go. But I don't think he will. That's the thing. I'm not sure. I was saying that last year. He looks like Gibson looks like he's just fed up. His career is going before his eyes, and like I kind of understand it, I kind of understand. Like, he would be getting frustrated now. He's getting older. He's never been on a really good team. They could get a lot for him, and like you said, that Dostal guy just scored a goal, by the way. And wasn't it him that got the goal? Dostal scored a goal in the AHL. He's probably ready. He's not ready to be a number one, but they could get another veteran goaltender to help him out. The problem is they're in Anaheim. That's the biggest problem. You trade Gibson away, then sponsors are going to lose their mind. It's such a difficult market to rebuild in there in Anaheim. It's so difficult. If you could convince your sponsors, look, if we do a proper rebuild, we're going to. But all sponsors care about is that there's this many people looking at my advertisement in an arena. That's all they care about. Call me when you're good again. You want to talk about your fair weather fans. Sponsors are fair weather fans, especially in markets where it's not really a hockey market as of yet. Like, they don't care what you got to say. You got to rebuild? Okay, call me back when the rebuild's done. So that's the way it is. And you lose that money because they're not paying. So, but I agree, in a perfect world where you don't care about money and you just care about building a team, for sure Gibson should be traded right now, for sure. And I just talked about how it's hard to find a number one goaltender. I agree, but this is a situation where you've had this guy for quite a while. His career is going before his eyes. He looks frustrated as it is. And you're just going to have to draft another one. Dostal could be the guy for all I know. He looks like he's going to be darn good. So you get another veteran to work with this Dostal kid. and go from there. But I don't think, like, if you're Gibson, if you want this Dostal kid to be a number one, do you want him to be around a guy who doesn't even want to be there? Like, for sure, I think it would be the right thing to do. In fact, you could probably get a good young goaltender back in return in that deal. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, get Campbell back. I hear he's a really nice guy. He could help that Dostal kid around. Get Campbell, but he's going to be a free agent, isn't he? Or is he? Yeah, he's free. So it wouldn't make sense that way, but Toronto would definitely use him. But they don't have many prospects to give that I would want anyways. That would be the problem with that deal. Colorado, there you go. Trade him to Colorado. Who cares if he's in the same West, in the West? Trade him to Colorado, you can get Francouz and some killer prospects. Some D prospects like Justin Barron and Francouz. Something like that. Kakinen and Fia. Kakinen, sure. I'm looking more defensemen. Give me Kakinen and either Lambos or those two defensemen. Whatever one my scouts think is better, because I'm just Ryan O'Rourke. What's Ryan O'Rourke is in junior right now. He's what, 6 feet, Pickering. 29 points in 36 games right now. Ryan O'Rourke, 55 penalty minutes. Good, tough. I think he's a Western boy, isn't he? Where is he? Oh no, he's from Pickering. Or Carson Lambos, who's a little bigger, but they're both left defensemen. I really think they need defensemen over anything. What's he got? 30 points. Yeah, Lambos and Kakinen, baby. Yeah, that's the problem. Well, they're not going to sign Fiala anyways. See, there, Anaheim could get Lambos and Kakinen and wait till Fiala to become a free agent and sign Fiala. That's a pretty exciting player to have up there with all the other guys that you got. And you got in Lambos, you got a guy that can, I mean, I don't even know if Minnesota would do that. I don't know what they're going to do with those two guys, because when they come up, they're going to have a hard path into the NHL. There's one of those two guys are probably going to have to use to fill a need, I would think. They're both left defensemen. And you've already got Dumba signed up for a long time, don't you? Yeah, you got, oh, okay, one of them could take Goligoski's spot. So, yeah, I guess they're kind of, that's why they got Goligoski. But Brody and Dumba is a righty. Yeah, Dumba's a right defenseman. Jared Spurgeon, Dumba, Kalen Addison. Actually, yeah, they probably could use both of those spots. That'd be too expensive. See, if they trade Fiala, they basically are doing it for cap reasons. Because their cap space is going to be bunk next year. Minnesota, that is, obviously. But I agree, like, if you can get Gibson, Kakinen looks like he's going to be a really good goaltender. I don't know if he's going to be a true number one, but I don't know. He looks like he's going to be really good. I think they're going to roll with Kakinen, and they also have. Hey Brian, how you doing, buddy? They also have that young kid, Swedish kid, coming up too. So Wallstedt, Jesper Wallstedt. What's his numbers looking like? I heard he's got some attitude problems though. Oh yeah, Swedish. He in the Swedish Elite League. Jesper Wallstedt has a .915 and a 2.08. .915 is not that stellar, really, but for an 18-year-old kid playing in the Swedish Elite League, those are pretty sweet numbers. So I think the future is for Wallstedt there. So I don't know if they're gonna. Yeah, man, oh man, oh man. It's hard not to take Gibson if you can get Gibson. That's the thing. It's just really if you can get him. I mean, Jesper Wallstedt is supposed to be what Gibson is, and now you got Gibson, so maybe he's part of the deal. That'd be hard to give up Wallstedt, but we're trading Gibson because I don't know. I think the Ducks think that they're going to be good soon. That's the problem. I think they're hoping they're going to be a contender in the next 2 to 3 years. And I just don't see it still. I don't see it. I don't see like Josh Mahura, really. Camp Fowler's 30 now. They brought Brendan Goulet up. I don't really see anybody in their defense that really jumps off the pages. Who's Ian Moore? Yeah, like they're a very strange team. They've been rebuilding, but they don't have very much depth. Yeah, I don't really like bringing that game up because I thought Allmark was going to be a net for Boston, and I was stupid and I didn't make sure, and I I put Vegas in. If I would have known it was Swayman. But the thing is with the Golden Knights is let's face it. Let's come right out and say it. They've got chemistry issues since Eichel went in there. So I don't know what's going to happen when Stone and Pacioretty come back, but that team is a shadow of the team that you normally would see without them. What's first world problems? Vegas is a shadow of the team, but I mean, and now they're in a situation where I guess they got to keep both of them off of there so the contract works for Eichel. And they might not even, imagine if they didn't make the playoffs. Imagine if Vegas doesn't make the playoffs. And that could very well be. They're holding on to a playoff spot by like one point right now. If they went out and got Eichel and they did their fancy dancing with Pacioretty and Stone, and then they don't make the playoffs, that would be crazy. Looks good on him, really. Because you know for sure. Now, I know what I said about Kucherov. And maybe it still was so. But there's no doubt about it here that Stone and I don't believe they didn't need surgery at that moment. And I love Vegas, but that's just smells bad. And now they don't even make the playoffs. They do all that. They give Stone his surgery, whatever, to get under the cap and all that stuff like that. And then they don't make the playoffs. That would be something else. Oh, that's the thing. That's what's so funny. That might, that could end it. People would stop doing that maybe. Because I think they reach for the fences there. They may end up shooting them in the foot. But the thing is, I think it has something to do with what's their schedule for the rest here? Because really, I think there's only one more month left in the season, if you can believe that. Unbelievable. This season's almost over already. Well, it's not, but 1 month, that's it. It's never long enough. Vegas. They got Ottawa next after today. We got Ottawa, then St. Louis. That'll be a tough one. No, that's not Vegas. Philly, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Columbus. So let's face it, 3 out of 4 of those they should have. Let's see what's. So slow. There we go. Winnipeg, Florida, LA. Yeah, I don't know when they're going to come back, but I mean, that road trip, they should be able to catch 3 out of 4, hopefully. But for their sake, anyways, because then if they can't, I think they're in trouble. They're in big trouble. If they got to get. They don't want to go 2 for 2 on that. They want to go 3 and 4. They got guys riding their butts right now. I've been saying all along, I think Nashville is going to fall out. I do. They played in the beginning of the season like they were playing in the playoffs every day, and they look tired. And having it's starting to show maybe why people like the teams like big goaltenders now. It's not just about what they cover the net; it's about being able to play a full season. And Saros is looking tired. Saros is one of those guys where you could have a 1A, 1B. If they could take a little bit of load off him, like, he could definitely make it through a playoff round, but if they could take a little bit of a load off him, that would be a guy that I think I wouldn't mind having as like a 1A, 1B in the regular season. Because he's a little lighter, but I think he could probably get through a playoffs if he was a little more rested. But he's one of the few guys that I would do that with. But if they don't pull, if they go 500 on this road trip, when you've got like Columbus and guys like that, Columbus and Philadelphia, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. You got to catch 3 out of 4 of those. Because I was just looking at it today, like Vegas they got one Dallas. If Dallas wins tonight, they're ahead of Vegas and Nashville, by the way, and Edmonton. They jump like everybody. It's so tight there. Vancouver too. Winnipeg is still there. And then Edmonton as well. So I think you're going to find Edmonton wins more than they lose now. Los Angeles will probably be fine. Minnesota, like they gotta get a winner right now, man. That's a tough group chasing them at the moment. It's a really tough group chasing them. So they need Stone back. They need Pacioretty back. And that's why I said when they got Eichel, they're probably not winning this year. Next year, maybe, but... Well, it's going to be tough because that's been one hell of a long road trip. I think they're going to have a tougher time against Columbus than they did against Vegas. The good news for them is that Columbus will be on a back-to-back. Hey, how you doing, Bill? Thanks for coming in, man. Columbus will be on a back-to-back. I gotta imagine they're playing Berube tonight. And I don't know. That's still a question mark. Can that Berube guy keep on doing what he's doing? Let's see if they have that up here or not. Elvis Merzlikins. No, they're playing Merzlikins tonight. So they're playing JF Berube against Boston tomorrow. Wow. Yeah, he was on a few teams, Berube. I can't remember where they were, but I mean, Bill, we're talking about Boston if they can win that. I mean, that was a long road trip. How many days was that? Boston, that's 4 games in 6 nights. And a 6-game road trip that started on February 24th. My gosh. That's crazy. And it was through the Western Conference too. And then one stop off in the East. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, if Boston wins that game, that is one hell of a win. That's one gutsy win if they win that game tomorrow against Columbus. I mean, it's. I don't care what team you are. You play 6 games and 4 games in 6 nights, all on the road, with different time zones. And like, if you're an Eastern team and you're playing the Western road swing, by the time you get to that 6th game, you got to be done, dude. Like, I was amazed they did as well against Vegas, but that was partially because Vegas is playing so bad. So if you're asking me, I think I would lean Columbus in that game. I think I would be leaning Columbus in that game. That is ridiculous. That's a ridiculously long road trip. And then wonder what their first game back off the road trip is. LA. They got one, and then they got the first game back is LA. How many days in between? Are you kidding me? They've only got 1 day off in between there? Yeah, that is crazy, dude. That is nutso. 1 day off in between, and then they play LA. That is ridiculous. I don't know. All I gotta say, if Boston beats Columbus and then beats LA after that, or I mean, if they win their next 2 games, it's like borderline heroic. That's a ridiculous schedule right there. You figure you go all the way through the Western time zone, all the way to Vegas. Then you don't even go home from there. You got to stop in Columbus. That's a lot of I mean, you just went there how many time zones? You got to stop in Columbus. Then you go home. Haven't been home for a while. Everybody's got a family. They want to talk to you. They want to say this. You got to have your, whatever the heck you do in your life. You got 1 day off and you play LA. LA, that's ridiculous. I'll take LA and Boston that day. I hope they're a dog. I'll take LA all day. Like, just, if Boston wins it, kudos to you, man. You guys are freaking amazing. But that is a ridiculous schedule. Oh, did he? And he got hurt for the Montreal Canadiens? Yeah, if they win that game, dude, if they win against Columbus, that's huge. We'll see what Columbus does tonight against LA. Like, Columbus has got to be like smacking their lips right now. That's why I think Columbus could win against LA tonight. because they've got they're only 10 points behind Boston, and they're going to be playing a Boston team that should be absolutely done. So that's a 4-point swing. If they can win tonight and against Boston, all of a sudden they're in it. That is a huge gutsy win. Huge gutsy win. And I just can't see them having enough gas to beat LA after that. Especially if Columbus beats LA tonight. If Columbus beats LA tonight and then LA's got to fight. And that's another reason why maybe I think LA could possibly be overlooking Columbus right now because they got that Boston game coming up. A little bit, although they shouldn't be because, they're in a playoff fight right now, but it's just subconsciously that just happens. As far as spots are concerned, I'd say Columbus has got the spot tonight against LA. But LA has been, playing with a lot of heart too. But I think Boston, I'm going to probably go with Columbus against Boston tomorrow. I'll probably be going Columbus against Boston. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but kudos to Boston for that. I'll be talking a lot about that because that is digging deep right there. And if they happen to beat LA when they get home after one day, I mean, I'll go as far as to say if they can win these next two games, if they've got enough team fortitude to win these next two games, I'll start thinking of them more on the contender list, because these are the two. These kind of games coming up right now are the difference between contenders and non-contenders. True contenders can win these games. They don't necessarily win them, but they will. They can win them. So, and especially in the spot they're in, they really do need that win against Columbus. You can't take anything for granted. They're 10 points behind Washington or whatever. You want to put them away. But tough spot, very tough spot for both of those teams. Yeah, Edmonton's in a playoff spot right now. We'll see what happens. I think the energy of having this coach is going to wear off. This is the energy of having this coach is going to wear off. And when you boil it down, they still don't have a good defense. I don't care what you say. They don't have a good defense. You saw what happened last night. I had Chicago last night. Edmonton is not good on last games of a road trip. And like I said, the defense isn't good, man. Koskinen, let's face it, Philadelphia outplayed them. Kane got hurt? Oh, that would even be even worse. I didn't even know that. No, he's fine. Doesn't say anything about him being hurt here. Tyson Barrie got hurt, which is okay. I mean, it's not okay. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but we don't need Barrie. Evander Kane, it doesn't say he's injured on Cap Friendly. Where did you hear that? Are you sure it wasn't the other Kane? Well, that was a long time ago. No? I see nothing on here about Kane being injured. I didn't even see who got the points last night. Who got the points last night for Edmonton? And then I'll look at tonight's games. Oh, Kubalik scored for Boston last night. There's been talk that Edmonton's looking at Kubalik. Lafferty got a goal last night. They've been saying nothing but good things about Lafferty since he went to Chicago. The coach loves him. Draisaitl for McDavid and Barry. Barry got injured last night. Evander Kane scored last night. And Patrick Kane. Evander Kane got 2 last night. Wow. But I see nothing in here where he got injured. Evander Kane, he played 22 minutes. When did he get injured? I imagine he's hurting. Yeah, he's getting back into playing full season again. Evander Kane, but he scored. He potted 2 last night, and from what I've heard, is there hasn't been any problems in the room at all with him. He's been excellent. So I mean, that's if Evander Kane can get back to the 30 to 40 goal scorer that he was, then Edmonton probably will outscore that defense no problems. And going by his 2 goals last night, and you know, it's taken him a while to get going. Well, obviously. The question for me will be what's going to happen to him next year. That I can't see Edmonton being able to pay him. I don't know if he wants to stay in Edmonton, but how much money is he going to want? Like if he can show that he can be a 40 goal scorer and 30 to 40 goal scorer in a half a season, like it just projects that he's doing that much, and there's no problems in the room in Edmonton at all. It's amazing how much managers will like forget everything that happened before that. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he pots another $5 or $6 million contract somewhere again. And I doubt very much it could be Edmonton. It's not what they need, really. I doubt very much it could be. But somebody will give it to him. For sure, somebody will give it to him. I would say he could go to like a team that is just on the precipice of like LA, but I mean, a guy with a gambling addiction, I don't know if LA is the best place to go, but what I mean is like a team that's right on the precipice of starting to say, we want to be a contender right now. And LA would be one of those ones. I think Anaheim kind of thinks they are. I could see that maybe. A big power forward to go with Zegras. in LA if they decide to go that direction in there. But that'll be the interesting thing to me as to where he's going to go next year. I could see Nashville. I don't know why I really could see Nashville. If I don't know if they signed Forsberg, like if Nashville signed Forsberg, he would be their second left winger with Johansson. Yeah, I don't know much about Mark Hollowell. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's dealing with bang-up injuries, but that's going to be interesting because he looks like he's hitting his stride in Edmonton, and like I said, I just can't see them signing him. Yeah, I'm so mad I didn't look at that. I would why I took Vegas in that spot. If I would have known Swayman was in, I wouldn't have taken Vegas. No, Swayman looks fantastic. No doubt about it. Like pretty much for sure, there's no way Allmark is going to take that. And now you got the thing is they got Allmark at what, $5 million a year for how many years? Makes it a little bit of a difficult spot, but I do get why they did it. Because they don't have a lineup that can afford to not have that can afford to have a bad goaltender at all. And Allmark isn't terrible, but he's not great. He's certainly not worth the contract that they gave him. And I actually thought he would be, but he's not. And he's still, he's not a young guy, so his upside is not stupendous. UFA in 2025. That was 4 years at $5 million. That's a very expensive backup, and that's exactly what he's going to turn out to be. Good thing he doesn't have a no trade clause. I don't think, does he? Oh yeah, he does. 2023-24. Oh, he's got a no movement clause for the next 2 years. So he's not even really going anywhere for the next 2 years, not likely. And then he's got a 16-team NTC at $5 million. So if he doesn't show to be a number one goaltender, he's going to be a very expensive 1B somewhere. Not, I guess it's not expensive if he's a 1B. He has to get his moves from Rask. When all I in about Swayman, like I was hearing about him from college, like everywhere. Like anybody that was a college guy was like, watch out for the Swayman kid. Watch out for the Swayman kid. I heard it like all the time. And I mean, look, he's only is he 19 or 20? And he just looks absolutely unbelievable for his age. More than Spencer Knight. Like he looks like he's going to be in the Shesterkin type, like running for Vezinas every year type goaltender right now as we speak. He's good. He looks like he's a rare air goaltender, savior of the Boston Bruins. Seriously, like they don't have to do a deep rebuild as long as they got a good. That's what I mean about a rebuild. Like Boston's going to have to do a bit of a rebuild here, but they don't have to do a deep rebuild when you got a goaltender like Swayman. You can have a very above average team, and of course you have Boston's just the Boston energy and everything that goes on there, the confidence and the competitive Boston way. And you could be a contender. So yeah, I take Vancouver tomorrow. Toronto looks like, I don't know, Campbell's, until I see Campbell play a good game, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much Rask really contributed to, I mean, to a certain degree, of course. You're learning to be a professional from a guy like Rask, right? But, I mean, I think, let's put it this way. Rask was not as good as Swayman at the same age. Swayman is heading in a direction on a projection to be better than Rask. Yeah, I know they don't have the center like Bergeron anymore, but I mean, I can't overemphasize the value of having a goaltender like Swayman, man. I'm sorry, but if you tell me, would you like a center like Bergeron or a goaltender like Swayman? I'll take the goaltender like Swayman every day. You tell me, like if you ask me if do you want Shesterkin or Draisaitl, answer Shesterkin. I take Shesterkin over Draisaitl. A goaltender affects the game more than any top center. Now McDavid or no, that's a little. Tim Thomas days, yeah, he was fun to watch. All right, you're gonna take the center over the goaltender? No, not a chance. Not a rare goaltender like that. Well, he is now. Bergeron in his heyday, maybe not. I mean, two different kind of players. Bergeron is probably the best two-way player of our generation. Okay, when you ask me Barkov over Shesterkin, okay? So let me put it this way. Florida has Bobrovsky right now, which is basically an average goaltender, maybe slightly above average. At one time, he had Columbus' system going for him, and he looked fantastic, right? So you take Florida is not going to win a cup with Bobrovsky as their number one goaltender. With Barkov there, with all the guys they got there, they're not winning a cup with Bobrovsky as their number one goaltender. The New York Rangers, forward and D right now, should not win a cup. Probably not. Shesterkin in there, though, they could. You see what I'm saying? So I'd take Shesterkin over Barkov. No way. I don't agree with you at all. I mean, I agree with you when you're talking about a difference between a good and average, but when you're talking about Shesterkin level or something like that, or Demko or Vasilevsky, those kind of rare air goaltenders, I'll take them over just about anybody in the league. Give me one of those. Then I'll build my team around that. Look at Price, man. Montreal had no business making the finals last year. That was pretty much all Price. You take Price out of there and put in Bobrovsky, Montreal doesn't even come close to the playoffs or to the finals. There's no way they make the finals. Not a chance in hell do they make the finals with Bobrovsky in there. And I can tell you this year, Florida's not winning the cup. I said it here first. They're not winning the cup with Bobrovsky as their goaltender. Minnesota does not beat New York in the playoffs. No way. No way. With Talbot in net? Are you kidding me? With Talbot in net? Not a chance. No way. You switch goaltenders? Yeah, absolutely. Minnesota. They go out and get Marc-Andre Fleury? Then, okay, I'll say Minnesota. But with Talbot in net, they're not winning nothing. Nothing. They're not winning nothing. They barely win a round with Talbot in net. That guy is no way. Kakinen gives him a bit of a chance. He could get on a hot streak for a while, but no way. Igor is the reason why the Rangers probably are barely making the playoffs right now if it's not for Shesterkin. Forget about being a playoff contender. Like, the Rangers are probably barely making the playoffs now if it wasn't for Shesterkin. Like, for me, you give me Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Demko. Who am I missing? Swayman, probably a guy like that. And just above average team, and I'd rather go with that for a cup than a really good team and a Bobrovsky between the pipes. Like a Florida with Bobrovsky. Florida's got, like, top six is absolutely fantastic. They could use one more defenseman. But if they're going in with Bobrovsky, I don't think they're winning a cup. I'll take Vasilevsky and Tampa's team over that any day. Yeah, over all day. Over. Hellebuck, it's not even Hellebuck's problem. The problem with the Winnipeg is defense. Their defensemen are terrible. Hasek, that Buffalo team, without, if you would have put like an average goaltender, they don't even come close to the playoffs. They don't even come close to the playoffs, let alone make it to the finals. Dominic Hasek brought a team that wasn't even a playoff team to the finals. That was one of the greatest goaltending. That was some of the greatest goaltending. That was the greatest goaltending I ever saw in my life. Even though they didn't win the cup, to me, that run to the cup was the greatest goaltending display I have ever seen in my life. That was amazing. That team, like, did you see? Go look up the Buffalo Sabres and see who they had in their lineup. Stu Barnes was their best forward. If you don't know who Stu Barnes is, I don't blame you a bit. Stu Barnes was their best forward. Richard Smellick. Wooly. What's his first name? The guy was like he was never a top four on any other team, I don't think. I think he went to Detroit. They had an Alexei Zhitnik wasn't bad, I suppose. But they weren't even a playoff team. It was ridiculous that they made it to the finals. Like I said, with Shesterkin, you never know, man. Like you got a goaltender like Shesterkin like that, you just never know. You just never know. But they are. I agree with you. They're in the just never know spot right now. I wouldn't say 3 years though. I think you're a pretty cautious fan there. I don't think 3 years. I think Lafreniere by next year is going to be a 30-goal scorer. I'm a little concerned with Kako with this injury and his development right now, but you got Schneider, should be beasting pretty good as long as you don't trade him. It's just going to be fill in those holes, a second line center, let that defense percolate, and I don't know, man. They could be a contender a lot sooner than you think. You think Tampa versus St. Louis? I don't think Tampa. I don't think St. Louis's defense is going to hold up. Falk and Krug. That could be the problem there. Husso has never been there. Binnington did win a cup. They got to get Binnington like flying like he did before. Husso might be able to. I think St. Louis could do some damage. They got a lot of. I mean, they got cups in there already. They already won a cup. I'd like to say Colorado, but when you see them, like, I cannot stand teams that just basically don't even bother with games like they did with Arizona. Playing from the outside, just trying not to get injured, all that kind of stuff like that. I don't think they're that far away, especially if Kako comes back, gets healthy, and starts hitting it out of the park. I don't think the Rangers are that far away. But Hajin, I disagree about that about goaltending. I think give me an elite goaltender over, over an elite center every day. Give me both. That'd be beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Binnington got on a hot streak. Lundqvist, I really feel bad for Lundqvist because he played on Ranger teams again that were they were some of the worst possession teams to make to the finals. Like their defense was so overrated at that time. If it wasn't for Lundqvist, like it would have been a disaster there. Rask got one as a backup, but I mean, I wouldn't put Rask in Lundqvist level either. But the Rangers' defense at that time was, if Lundqvist would have played, if Rask would have played for the Rangers and Lundqvist would have played for Boston, Boston would have won more cups. Exactly the same as then? No, they got a much better possession defense now. They're building, I don't know if they'll keep on doing it. They got a much better, well, it's a very young team that's learning how to play that way, for sure. That's why they're not ready yet. They're too green. But they've got guys that will be able to do it. The thing about the Rangers, like the difference between the Rangers that you're talking about and the Rangers that we're talking about now is those Rangers were a bad possession team and they were veterans. You had, you had Stahl. I always forget his name there. Callahan. I'd have to look back on some of those. That was the thing, is you had a veteran team that spent way too much time in their own end. And everybody celebrated the shot blocking of their defensemen. Well, yeah, they were shot blocking. Tortorella realized that they didn't have a very good team. They never had a great team to get the puck out of the zone very well. Their defensive zone exits talents that they had on that team were poor. So they had to be the best shot blocking team in the league, and that's that maybe ever. That might have been the best shot blocking team ever. But the problem with that was they had to be because they were in their zone most of the time. You don't trust Sutter taking them there? Really? Why is that? But I don't think they can. I think if it's not for Sutter, they don't have a chance. Yeah, Dylan DeMello would be okay, I guess. Pretty good defensive defenseman. You don't really want him more like in a 5-6 spot. Yeah, I still think Lafreniere is going to be fantastic. I mean, people just forget about how young that kid is. I don't know. I'm kind of like, you kind of got to trust them that they're playing that Lafreniere up in the lineup the way they are, like playing him on the fourth line. And what they're trying to do with Lafreniere is they're trying to make him into the power forward's power forward. They're trying to teach him how to be. They're building him up physically and teaching him how to take physical abuse, like hardcore. So by the time he's a number one center, I don't know if there's anybody in the league that's going to be like him right now. Roosevelt, yeah, Delzato, Girardi. That's who I was thinking of, Girardi. They used to praise Girardi like he was the best defenseman or whatever like that. He was a terrible defenseman. He was a great shot blocker, and he had to be because he spent most of the time in his own zone. And Roosevelt was probably the best of the bunch there. What, Boston or what? Leafs don't want Lion A. Weichel. What are you talking about? And they're not getting him. Columbus is going to sign Lion A for sure. For sure, Columbus is going to sign Lion A. What, you don't trust Sutter, really? I think it's because of Sutter that they're in there. And I kick myself for not giving him more credit than I did before. But right now, you could say they're a bad possession team, but the difference is they're a young team that's learning how to be a good possession team, and I think they'll be fine. You got Fox. Rangers back then didn't have a Fox. What Schneider, like these puck moving guys like they have now, they didn't have that before. Girardi was not a puck moving guy. Girardi had a big shot. He was good on the power play, not bad on the power play, but he spent way too much time in his own zone, man. I think Lafreniere will be better than Kako, but I worry about Kako with this injury. If you want, I don't know why you'd want Domi, but if you want to have him, sure. There's no upgrade over Kerfoot. It's about the same. See if there's any news here. The Blackhawks have made front office changes. Mark Kelly and Ryan Stewart. Okay, so Chicago's let go of 2 guys because they're going to try to find some people that can help them rebuild. What do you guys think about Chicago in a rebuild? I don't see Minnesota making the Cup Finals. I think it's probably Tampa Bay still to lose. Carolina needs some defense. They're going to be tough in the playoffs, though. Carolina's still going to be tough in the playoffs because they play a playoff style game. I think Crawford is a lot better than people give him credit for, so that's not really a good sign. Good question. Crawford was a lot better than what. But if you're asking me, do I take Taves, Crawford, or Zibanejad, Shesterkin? Probably Shesterkin. You're not going to get me off on that, Hajin. I'm taking the rarer goaltender before I take the #1 center. Simple as that. Because if my #1 center goes down, my goaltender can still win me a cup. If my elite goaltender goes down, my #1 center is not going to win me a cup. A goaltender affects the game more than any other position out there. As simple as that. You could have a crap game and still win. Taves could have a crap game. Like, if you could have a crap game, and if you've got a Shesterkin, you still win. If Shesterkin has a crap game, not very likely Taves is going to win you the game. Out of all the players, Taves would be more likely to, but it's not very likely. So I'm not giving up on. I'm taking an elite goaltender over a #1 center for sure. I can't see Minnesota making the finals with Talbot in that. Can't see it. Tampa will probably just about anybody will beat the Leafs in the playoffs with that goaltending, unless Campbell, goes on one of his 10-game stretches he's able to go on. But it doesn't appear that he's able to do that when the heat comes on. So unless they get Fleury, then maybe I'll talk differently. But I think I would take Crawford as a goaltender over Zibanejad as a center. And I just said I would still do that. I'll take Zibanejad as my #1 and Shesterkin over Taves and Crawford. I would. You got to remember that Chicago team wasn't all about Taves. That team was stacked from top to bottom. Stacked. Like stacked. I don't know if you can even stack a team like that anymore in this NHL today. I don't know if you can actually get away with it. Colorado's trying. Colorado's trying to do it, so we'll see if Colorado can do it. Yeah, they also don't have a #1 center, that's true. But Talbot sure ain't going to get you there. That's for sure. You could put a #1 center there. That's why I said, I get people messaging me all the time asking me, what would it take to get JT Miller? And I say, it won't matter if you get JT Miller if you go there with Talbot and Kakinen as your 2 goaltenders. You can go get JT Miller if you want, but you're not winning a cup with those 2 guys as your goaltender. No way. Fleury can't get traded. Why not? Yeah, I can't see, even if you did get a major goaltender, you're right. The only chance that Minnesota has is to get Fleury. If they have Fleury, they could catch lightning in a bottle and win. But even with Fleury, with that center depth, you're probably right. They still can't win. A number one center for sure is going to, like I said, I'm not saying that having a number one center isn't of huge value. For sure it is. No doubt about it. Like, no doubt about it. It's enormous value to have a number one center. Yeah, but he knows he's going. He's not gonna stick around Chicago. Are you kidding me? He's got a couple more years to win a cup. There's no way Chicago he's gonna stay in Chicago. That pretty much is already on the board. It's just a case of, apparently they had a deal with Washington and he turned it down, which I can understand because Washington's not really a contending team this year. With Fleury, they might have had a chance, but there's a good example. You've got Kuznetsov, Wilson, Ovechkin, Oshie, Backstrom. But is Washington going to win a cup with Samsonov and Vanacek? No. Not a chance. Not a chance. Apparently he wants to go to Canada. I mean, I've heard about these Fleury to the Edmonton Oilers rumors, and yeah, again, if Edmonton wants to have a chance at all, that would do it. You get Fleury there, and they got a fighting chance. Anyways, I still say their defense won't get them in, but I didn't hear he said no to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I just heard from somewhere that he wants to go to Canada. So, sure, if Toronto gets Fleury, that changes everything. That changes everything if Toronto gets Fleury. Because you can play a high-octane game even in the playoffs if you have it. That's what I thought before, Mark. That's what I thought before in the beginning of the year, that this was all kind of getting set up for Fleury to go to Pittsburgh. Because I don't think Jari's your answer there in Pittsburgh. If it's me, I'm doing it. You can have Jari. I don't care. Because after these 2 years here, what does it matter who your goaltender is right now anyways, right? Like, you might as well go get Fleury back. Give her a go. It's a great storyline. Get all the guys back together. Go full bore and see if you can do it in the next 2 years. Send Jari back and whatever you got to do. I would do it. I would do it, no doubt about it. Well, I don't know if Pittsburgh wants to, but I would. I'm just saying I would if I would do it. Minnesota, there's Bill Guerin played with Fleury. So if they want to have a shot at it this year, that would be, I think, what they would need to do. If Colorado wants to go way over the top and make sure they win, they would probably be in there. That would be something. I don't know if he'd go to Colorado or not. I don't know. Washington already said they did. I would hope Edmonton would. if they're wanting. I don't know. I'm on the offense with Edmonton because really I still don't think they have enough depth in their organization. But they're in a place now where, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it would be sick to watch Fleury in Edmonton, no doubt about it. But it would be sick. I'd love to see it. Besides that, I don't think there's anybody else that would really are in a position to put themselves as a contender right now. And then, of course, Vegas again. There was a rumor that they were trying to get Fleury, but if Lehner's going to be out long term, you see how desperate they already are. Yeah, I heard about Vegas, but I don't know. I get a feeling I don't know if Fleury would want to go back there again after all that crap that happened with them. I'm pretty sure they made a lot. I think ultimately he wants to go back to Pittsburgh. And I think my gut says that Pittsburgh's going to do it. I really think they're going to do it. It just makes sense to me. If you take Fleury now, give Jarry back with whatever, so they've got a goaltender. If you take Fleury now, you didn't go get Hextall because you're not planning to rebuild eventually. I think they got a 2-year window there, and then it's rebuild time. I still think Pittsburgh is going to get Fleury again. I do. It's going to be Pittsburgh or Toronto, yeah. If he wants to go back to Canada, maybe it's Toronto. I don't think Edmonton is too far away from home. Oh, yeah. Everybody would fall all over themselves over that. I'm sure the league would want that to happen for sure. And just imagine if they won a cup again. Let's face it, is Pittsburgh going to win a cup with Jarry as a goaltender? My answer is no. Is Pittsburgh going to win a cup with Fleury as a goaltender? My answer is yes. I mean, my answer is they could, not yes. I'm not saying for sure they're going to, but. Like they've got a really good chance to win a cup with that team with Fleury as their goaltender. But I don't think they have much of a chance with Jarry. It's just those rare air goaltenders. Like take Shesterkin and put him in Pittsburgh. Could they win a cup? Yeah. Any above average team. Could they win a cup? Yeah. I would say. That's another reason why you said, Mark, that you thought that the Rangers are 3 years away. With Shesterkin, they're whatever away. Like he's only going to get better. Yeah. How old is Shesterkin? Like 25? Is he that young? He took a while to come over. $26. Pretty much in his prime. But he'll win the Vezina this year, right? Who's winning the Vezina this year? Shesterkin, right? Bettman will make it happen. I don't think Bettman plays into that stuff too much. I'm not picking up my wife today, so I'm staying a little longer, guys, so don't go away. All right, I said I was going to look at the games tonight. Okay. Do we finally have goaltending everywhere yet, or close to it? It's getting close to game time. Ranta versus DeSmith. I don't like this game. I don't like this game. Call it a draw. Tie game. Hurricanes versus, it'll go into overtime, I think. I don't know if it'll be over. I mean, it should be over with Ranta and DeSmith in net. I'm taking Columbus versus LA tonight. I'm gonna put a little bit on Columbus. They've got some rest. I just got a feeling about it. As long as Lickens holds up. Jets versus Stars. I don't over. Holtby and Hollabuck in net. Who knows? I don't know who's gonna win the game. I don't know who's gonna win the game, but I go over. Probably, if you tied me down, I'd say Dallas. Oh, you got the Kings, Joe? I don't like the Canes game. I think Columbus can beat the Kings in that spot. Jets, sure, whatever. I don't know. I honestly don't know. They beat Montreal hardcore. They almost gave it up. Their defense is terrible. All I know is over. The Leafs want Halak. Okay. I don't know why they would want Halak, but okay. He's just reporting it, I guess. I don't like the Rangers. Let's see. Los Angeles, Columbus. Yeah, over. You can get a 6 on that still. Wow. Jersey versus the Rangers. I don't like the game. It depends. I think that the line is a brutal line considering how New Jersey's been playing. But New Jersey went from Columbus. I think they've been hanging around in New York for 2 days now. So young guys in New York, But I don't like that game either. I think Tampa will beat Detroit after that debacle last night. However, with Elliott and net, I think the over is the play all day. Winnipeg, whatever. Probably, maybe Winnipeg. They got a fire in their belly, I guess, finally against Montreal. Because that whole Scheifele situation. What do you got, Flyers for Anaheim, Vegas? I don't like the flow of Vegas right now. I'd probably Anaheim. Well, it's just trading garbage for garbage. Yeah, probably the Rangers, but I'm not putting anything on it. I could definitely see New Jersey too. I definitely could see New Jersey there. That Dawes kid is a lot better than. Have they said who's going to be in net on that? If it's not Dawes, they're still not telling us. What do you got for Mini and Sabres? Mini and the Sabres. They had a tough game against Philadelphia when they tried to chase the game last night. They got it back-to-back, so, I mean, I like Kakkonen way better now that Kakkonen is in there. They had to chase the game against Philadelphia because Kakkonen was in. Personally, I would have played Kakkonen last night so you didn't have to chase the game. You could have took it a little easier against Philadelphia and then tried your luck with Buffalo today with Talbot. That's what I would have did. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. Oh, are you still there even? I'm talking to you and you're not even there anymore, Joe Flyers. What do you got, Minnie? What do you got for Minnie? You're still there. I think Minnie should win that game. With Kakkonen in it, they should win it. I mean, Buffalo is feeling good about themselves, but because they beat Toronto, but that was mostly just because of piss poor. Toronto doesn't know what to do because of their goaltending. Like they're fumbling around with the puck because they know one mistake and it's in the net. That's a crappy way to play hockey. They're not going to have it quite as easy against a Minnesota team that is like desperate to win these 2 games on the road because they then got to go home and they got a tough game at home after this. Like who was it that they play after this? Huh? Oh, I was going the wrong way. Let's see, Minnesota. Yeah, they got a game against Dallas after this. You gotta win this game, man. I don't know how tight they're gonna like. You don't want to go against Dallas is a 4-point game. You lose against Dallas and they're right on your ass. If you beat Buffalo today, you got some breathing room when you go into Dallas. So you actually put pressure on Dallas if you win this game tonight. The question is that going to have them playing tight or are they going to come out like I think they're going to and the other thing is though if they put everything into this game tonight, they got to fly all the way back to Minnesota from Buffalo. How long is that? Buffalo to Minnesota. It's not that bad, right? Two hours. You got a 2-hour flight. It's not that bad, I suppose. Two-hour flight. back home to play Dallas. Tough game against Pittsburgh that they just pulled it out because Talbot was in net. I think with Kakinen in net, even though they're on a back-to-back, they should have enough pushback to win this game. I think Minnesota wins this game. They just need it. The question is, do they need it or do they want it? They got to loosen up, have fun, play their game. And Buffalo's got nothing to lose. They got nothing to lose. I mean, they're not making the playoffs anymore. They're playing for pride, and they're playing for roster spots, right? They got Cousins up with Middlestat on the left now, and Okposo, Asplund, Krebs. Krebs has not been doing it, man. Olofsson, Bjork, Eakin, Hayden. Yeah, see that Matthias Samuelsson's been playing very well for a 21-year-old. But overall, this is really, really, really Minnesota's got to win this game. Really, really. I mean, you got to, if Minnesota, this is one of those defining games for a team that tells you what you're made of. This is a game that tells you what you're made of right here. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on, but this is a team. This is a game where you find out if you believe in yourself, really. Because if Minnesota believes in themselves and how good of a team they are, and they play with confidence and the energy that they should still have some energy in this game. It's good enough energy to win this game. They should win this game. I wouldn't say John Tavares is very bad. His contract is not good. And you can't trade it away because it's an ironclad no movement clause. Like, well, you can, but it would be like, I don't know how the hell you'd ever trade that away. Somebody's going to want a number one center. How old is he anyways, by the way? He's 31, eh? 11 million till he's 34. Ironclad, no movement clause. He's got 50 points in 53 games. He's not bad. He's not very bad, that's for sure. But I don't know who could ever take his contract. It would $11 million. That would make it worth Toronto's while, because the only reason why you'd want to trade him is to get rid of the contract. Really, or you would have to take like you get young players with term with already having a contract in return. Yeah, but he's got 17 on the season, so, and 50 some points. He might have a wrist injury like that he's playing through or something. I don't know. It's possible. It's a thing, but it's hard to say. But I don't think he's tradable. Nobody that can afford that. That's why I did the Mitch Marner traded thing that I did, because you're not trading JT. You're not trading him. There's no way. Any team that could take his full cap hit wouldn't need him. He's too old. The only team, no, they don't have. The only team that I could honestly see doing it would be the Detroit Red Wings. Because they don't really have a second line center. And I don't know, they haven't really been drafting centers. Just that, like, they don't really have any centers in their system that are going to be ready to play. Velino's not the guy, I don't think. I could see Detroit actually being interested if they were ready, if they felt they were ready right now. Theodor Niederbach is a second rounder in 2020. I could see Detroit doing something like that. You think he's? I think he's just struggling with what he always does, and that's mental. He mentally breaks down. If you play him too much, he gets down on himself in bad games. If he goes on a hot stretch and he's on a high and he feels positive, he's great. But that happens not often enough. Yeah, maybe a 3-team, yeah. And you wouldn't get back much in return on that. Because as soon as you do that, you got to give up the pick to get it retained. They would have to retain it. They're not going to retain that much money. It doesn't make any sense. Like if you're going to trade somebody of like the big four, one of the big four, the only reason why you're doing it is you need to get cap space for depth. You're going to get a whole bunch of ready prospects, game ready prospects. No, because Dumba makes far less than JT Miller. They're quickly going to run out of cap room right away. Hey, how you doing, mean girl? How you doing? Is Weichel out because he doesn't like you, mean girl? You came in and said something, and then... How you doing, mean girl? Good, thanks for coming in. It would be a difficult trade for sure. I don't know how that could possibly happen. And not only that, he's got a full ironclad no movement clause. So he would only get traded to who he wants to get traded to. You get nothing in return. Like, you have no leverage. Toronto would have no leverage whatsoever. Like, you make up a deal where he goes to Minnesota. Does he want to go to Minnesota? Why would you want to go to Minnesota? I mean, it also would look so bad for the organization, and it would have a terrible effect in the room because they basically begged, borrowed, and steal to get Tavares there. Like they did everything they could. I'm sure they promised him a whole bunch of stuff. He could have. Why did you think he had a head in? I don't know why. I'm just saying that. Oh. Oh, he could have head injury. Okay. Why would he have a head injury? You're breaking in a new pair of skates? Nice. Are they fitting well? Are they fitting well? So did I get through all the games for tonight? Yeah, Vegas. I think Anaheim beats Vegas tonight. I hate that juice on Minnesota. Oh, nice. Yeah, you know what? Have a good weekend, everybody, too. I got to run. Sorry, mean girl. I got to get going. That's my full 42. Thank you for watching. Remember to check out, Off the Wall Hockey's got his show on tonight. And plus all the live streams over the weekend. I got to catch one of those live streams this weekend. I got to get on one. Me and Peyton this weekend. We got to do it. Okay, that's my full 42. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.